Welcome to What's in the Pot. I'm your host Sean Grande, and today I'm going to show you how to make boiled and fried provisions Trini style. It's What's in the Pot. Thank you very much for tuning into What's in the Pot. So my provisions I'm using today is some dasheen, some plantain, some cassava, and a sweet potato. This is a sweet potato. It's also known as a Cuban sweet potato, and this is the dasheen I'm using, also known as malanja blanca. Now what I did was I boiled all the provisions until they were soft. So think of it as if you're boiling potatoes or regular sweet potatoes. Once all the provisions are soft, what we want to do is cut them up, and we're going to start frying them up with our veggies. I have my pot on medium heat with about 2 tablespoons of oil. I have half of an onion, a small onion chopped up into nice little strips. You can chop it up into cubes, whatever you want. As long as we're adding some onions, that's what we need. What we're gonna let these onions do is saute for a few minutes. After they've been sauteing for a few minutes, we're gonna be adding some garlic. This is equivalent to about 3 cloves of garlic chopped up into nice fine pieces. If you can use minced garlic or grated garlic, that's fine as well. What we want to do is let the onions and garlic saute. It's going to bring out all the aromatics, all that flavor. This is ají dulce pepper, very similar to pimento pepper. It's a seasoning pepper, so any kind of Caribbean seasoning pepper will work. It smells hot, but it has no heat at all, so it's very similar to a Trinidad pimento. Now I'm going to add obviously some Trinidad pimento seasoning thanks to calubox.com. And now what we're going to do is we're going to let all these peppers saute and bring out some of its flavor with the onions and garlic. After a few minutes of the aromatic sauteing, what we're going to do is add our provisions. Now for me, when I make my boiling fried provisions, I like to add my plantains at the end. So what I like to do is add all the thicker root vegetables in at the start, let those soften up, because I don't want the plantain to get too soft, especially because it's a ripe plantain. What we're going to do is we're going to mix everything in with all the seasonings that we added to the pot. Once we've mixed that in and let that simmer for a few minutes, I'm going to be adding some butter. I'm using about half a stick of butter. You can use margarine if you want. If you don't want to add the butter, go ahead and omit that, but I like to add about half a stick of butter, and we're going to let that melt, and that's going to coat and give that nice buttery flavor with all the provisions. Now once that's been sauteing and the butter's been melting for about maybe 5-10 minutes, we're going to add some extra seasoning. So I'm adding about 2 teaspoons of Badia seasoning, 1 teaspoon of salt. And remember, salt and black pepper is always for taste, and 1 teaspoon of black pepper. I want to make sure we give it a good mix, especially when you're adding seasonings. You want to make sure that the seasonings coat every piece of the provisions that we have. Now this has been cooking for about maybe 20 to 25 minutes. I like to get everything soft. I want that butter to melt and coat all the different provisions. So now I'm going to be adding my plantains. I use ripe plantains. You just boil the plantains, go ahead, cut it up and add them in. I like to add it towards the end because I don't like it to get too mushy. The final thing I'm going to add is some green seasoning. You can check out my channel on YouTube on how to make my green seasoning mixture. If you don't have a green seasoning mixture, go ahead and add some fresh shadow benny or a little bit of cilantro. That would work as well. This is our final products. This is how I make my boiled and fried provisions. You can see all the provisions are coated with the seasoning, the onions, the garlic, the green seasoning. It's absolutely delicious. If you can smell it, you can smell the butter. You know, it's kind of like a Caribbean mashed potatoes, but even better. Thank you very much for tuning into What's in the Pot. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time, peace.